Hey guys, this is Community Starcraft 2. I'm Sidewinder, bringing you another community replay. It's going to be between the Red Zerg, mikeDstar, who is spawning up here on the top side of Metalopolis, and he's going to be fighting Vstheworld, who's the Blue Zerg down on the bottom side of Metalopolis. And I was a little bit distracted by the super early scout from mikeDstar, who's sending a drone out as soon as the game started. So if you are lactose intolerant, you might want to cover your ears and close your eyes, because there may be some cheese incoming from mikeDstar. We'll see what he is up to. So this game is not messing around, not wasting any time. We're just going to jump right into it. I did pull this replay off of teamliquid.net. They have a thread there that says post all of your replays and whatnot, and there's no real thing about casting them, but I just picked it up from there. Decided it might be cool to go ahead and cast it and see what it was all about. Based upon the description, these players are in Platinum. Checking the APM tab, I would agree that sounds about right. And again, APM does not really dictate your skill level or whatever. It's just a good barometer to go off of if you're not... I'm sorry, I'm getting so distracted by this drone. I have no idea what he is doing with this drone. Spawning pool is going up for both players at about the same time. mikeDstar was only on 10 supply when he put his down, whereas Vstheworld was on 13. So you can see what kind of economy disadvantage you can have if you pull one of your initial drones and don't have him mining. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but you're losing every trip that he would have made from the mineral patches and back worth of minerals, so it may set you back just a little bit if you decide not to do anything with that drone. He did ultimately get scouting off. May have just been worried about a 6 pull or something crazy like that, but on these cross positions I don't think that that would be very successful anyway. There's a gas steal from Vstheworld here. I'm not sure if that's going to be... Okay, nope, it does blow it up. And an evolution chamber is now going down in mikeDstar's base. mikeDstar cancels his extractor and puts it on the other one, since that evolution chamber would have blocked the pathing in order to get to and from here. It wouldn't have totally blocked it, but it would have slowed down the gas income between the two. So a little bit of tricks going on here, a little bit of mind games here in this mirror matchup. There is a spine crawler going down, which I don't know the build times of both of these respectively, but it looks like the evolution chamber should finish before the spine crawler does. He does cancel the evolution chamber anyway, since he had these zerglings poking around at it. Vstheworld is now going to lose this drone. Down it goes, splat. And Overlord control is going, or not Overlord control, but Overlord sight is always a big deal in Zerg versus Zerg. You will want to spread your Overlords out, considering anti-air will not be on the field in the form of anything but queens until quite further into the game. So we do see a pretty fast expansion here from Vstheworld. It is slow if you compare it to when you usually take your expansion in other matchups, but Zerg versus Zerg can be so fast, the tempo can change so quickly that you'll never know what's going to be safe and what won't unless you have really good scouting. There is a small Zergling skirmish going on here in the middle. Both of them lose one Zergling, so not a huge loss. I know that his little Zergling family will not be happy to hear about that loss, but ultimately they're Zerglings, so they're a dime a dozen anyway. In response, mikeDstar is throwing down his own hatchery. He did get scouting information off by spreading his overlords, so he can most definitely see that. More Zerglings are being rallied to the front of Vstheworld's base, but both of them are on about the same number of Zerglings. I would actually say Vstheworld is just a little bit ahead on Zerglings. These Zerglings are going to try to cancel this hatchery, but they're going to sorely lose, and he is outnumbered here in terms of Zergling versus Zergling. There is a Baneling nest going on down behind this, so Banelings are an excellent counter to Zerglings, assuming both players use their units correctly. Well, I guess it can depend, because if one person just moves their Zerglings in, or their Banelings in, you can just pull one Zergling and set him up to attack the single Baneling, and you'll get 1-for-1 trades, Banelings for Zerglings, and that's a huge win for the Zerglings. So we'll see exactly what comes of it. There are 4 Banelings morphing down here for mikeDstar. He does pull his Overlord back, fearing a queen may be rallying here fairly soon. There is a queen coming out of this hatchery. Second spine crawler starting here for Vstheworld. So he's expanding rather safely here, but these Banelings could completely turn the tide of this fight. We're going to see exactly what happens with that. Checking the production tab, nothing special going on here. Both of them getting speed at almost the exact same time on their Zerglings. A ton of Zerglings coming down for mikeDstar. And versus the world, I don't think he really knows what's going on outside of his base. He does not have any vision right outside of there. Here come the Zerglings, and the Banelings are going to be running in here. Zerglings are going to be met by a bunch. Oh, here we go. Baneling detonates and blows up all of those Zerglings, and you can see what a really unfair matchup this was. Banelings run right up the ramp. They're going to get in the mineral line. These drones need to be really careful. He does dent all of these drones fairly hard. One Zergling is going to be in there cleaning up the rest of them. So you can see what kind of a transition into Banelings will help. Another Zergling gets poked to death, and these Queens are all going to rally here, trying to protect the poor drones that all got damaged by those Banelings. If we take a look at the income tab, versus the world is now behind by 6 Harvesters because of that attack. And checking into mikeDstar's base, nothing unusual going on. He looks like he's just going to macro, just a little bit behind this. A little bit of chatter going on here between these two. Versus the world acknowledging a mistake that he had made. He is going to move these spine crawlers off creep for some reason and run these Zerglings past over to the enemy base. Is he planning on moving these spine crawlers in offensively? That would be strange. And meanwhile, behind this, there was a Roach Warren going up for versus the world. So I can't say I've seen a super slow spine crawler migration across the map like this before. These spine crawlers are so ridiculously slow off creep. These guys will definitely need to pack a lunch and possibly a sleeping bag on their way there because it's such a long trip for them. They walk so slow. Meanwhile, in mikeDstar's, meanwhile in mikeDstar's base, he does kill an Overlord, putting versus the world in the red in terms of supply. But I can't wait to see what happens with this engagement, to see exactly how these spine crawlers come into play. If you look at mikeDstar's base, he does have one spine crawler rooted, and due to the root time, if you get bad roots on these spine crawlers, they're not going to do a whole lot. This spine crawler is just going to take it down. The bad thing for mikeDstar is that he doesn't have a lot of forces on the field to deal with this. He does have a Roach Warren down. He is getting a Hydralisk Den, but here we go. This is going to be advancing. These spine crawlers finally arriving. It took them almost 2 minutes to get here. You can see how slow they are off creep. Kind of just setting his forces up here. We're going to see. I'm so interested to see how this is going to come down. He is planning these spine crawlers here on the Zerg, or enemy Zerg creep, which you definitely can do. Creep is creep, and you can plant them wherever. Banelings do detonate, taking out basically all those Zerglings. Roaches press up here and protect the spine crawlers as they start rooting. He has a larger Roach force and obviously more spine crawlers. He's going to try to cancel this upgrade on the Evolution Chamber. More Zerglings rallying in here. You can see the spine crawler is moving, but this is a terrible idea because the spine crawler is so vulnerable while it's rooting and while it's doing nothing. He loses that spine crawler for nothing. Roaches keep rallying in here. He's going to demolish this natural expansion. Spine crawlers continue to advance up. Roaches continue to press forward. More Roaches coming down from mikeDstar. He evacuates all of his drones, and this is just such an unfair fight for mikeDstar. He got really caught with his pants down, not seeing these spine crawlers advance, and had he had better Overlord placement, he would have seen them coming up. But he may yet buy just a little more time in order to get this out. He does have 9 Roaches on the way. If he can get those 9 Roaches out, he may be able to turn the tide of this. The spine crawler is almost dead, but it does retreat with only 23 health remaining. That's only 2 Roach shots. So a huge retreat there to preserve that spine crawler. Another Roach coming down the ramp here in order to try to help fend this off just a little bit more. The blue player's Roaches count is diminishing just a little bit, but these spine crawlers are still very much alive and well. He needs to move these Roaches away from all these spine crawlers and only engage one at a time if he can help it. Zerglings come in here for this round. More Zerglings are going to be poking away at these Roaches. This hatchery is going to fall. Wow. mikeDstar is way behind right now. Zerglings are flooding up into the main. They're going to surround these Roaches and get a whole bunch of damage off. And with backup from these Roaches, they're going to go ahead and kill off the remainder here. This Queen is doing as much as she can in order to try to hold this off, but her pathetic damage output against these Roaches is not going to do a whole lot. She's going to turn into a nice ball of gooey green acid in just a moment. Spine crawlers continue to advance, so this is a very cool strategy here we're seeing come down from versus the world. He does move his next spine crawler up, just kind of leaping them forward, almost as if he's using siege tanks and just slowly gaining position. This spine crawler is going to go down. It got a little bit too aggressive, but these Roaches are having a fun time pressing in here and keeping this pressure on. We can see there's not a whole lot coming down here underneath these Overlords that are blocking all this battle. They're big fat dudes that like to get in the way. This is a very cool game, and you can't help but be impressed by the spine crawler work here of Vstheworld. So cool strategy there, but you can see how incredibly risky that is. For one, if mikeDstar had his overlords in positions that they needed to be in order to see these spine crawlers coming, I mean, it's like it's just like spotting a snail if you have full vision on it. I mean, it's going to take forever to get over there, and you saw it take forever, but he got there, he planted, and he went after him. So really cool strategy there. I would think that would probably work a lot better on closer positions and if you have better creep spread. So I don't know how totally viable this is, but definitely for, at least apparently, leagues Platinum and below, perhaps this can work and work regularly. So those of you that are in Platinum and below, go ahead and try this out and let me know how it works out for you. You can post the comments that you may have about the build if you tried it yourself down here on this video, and even post replays and send them to me if you've had some interesting success with these spine crawlers. So yeah, that was a fun game to watch. Hope you guys enjoyed that. We will be posting a whole lot more videos here in the near future, so stay tuned, and I'll see you guys later.